Hi, anyone who's listening. This is my second note to self. I've received quite a lot of information this morning. I need to get it documented because by this evening there'll be more, and it'll be, I won't be able to get to it or I'll forget some of it. So I've got the Daily Mail have reported that thousands of cash machines have been removed by banks in Australia, which is important for people to know. It says that ATMs and banks and branches across Australia are continuing to close at a rapid rate, that 460 branches have been removed since 2020, and in the same time 3,800 ATMs have been removed, and it points out that fees for online banking are rife. So please be aware of that. If you go to the UK column, another brave GP has spoken out about the inconsistencies and the sort of wall of intimidation and an unwillingness to engage with any kind of alternative opinion that he has faced, and his general worries about vaccinating children. The Daily Record is reporting that that Scottish kids have been given vaccine overdoses, and that's 4 children who are given more than twice the recommended dose. These are clinically vulnerable children, apparently, who are between the ages of 5 and 12. So we just let that sink in, yeah? And one of them experienced headache, a severe headache, severe stomach pains. Their mum sort of realised that their vein was pulsing in their neck. So obviously she was terrified and she phoned the doctor, and the doctor said that there had been an error, but he should be okay. And she was given the doctor's phone number, to keep him updated should anything further go horribly wrong. I think, all of that, the vein pulsing in the child's neck, is already that it has gone horribly wrong. And he was supposed to get 10 milligrams and he was given 25.7 milligrams. The Times is reporting that Scots adults have also received more. I think it was 3 up to either over or just up to 3 dozen Scots adults have received, an overdose of the vaccine as well. I'll let you track that one down for time. Because this one's from Robert Malone, and he did a peer review, uninvited, but he wants to talk people through what should really be happening with the studies that are being published and people are, relying on for their sources of information about whether things are safe and effective. So this one is about the effectiveness of the Pfizer vaccine among children in New York after the emergence of the Omicron variant. So Robert Malone's peer-reviewed it. And he said that it's not a prospective study, let alone a randomized controlled study. Randomized controlled is the gold standard of scientific research. If you're really looking for answers, that's where you go. Obviously randomized controlled and then peer reviewed by people who have no bias. Anyway, so it's neither of those studies. It's a cohort study, and apparently that is something you have to worry about because there's selection bias, and you have to consider unidentified or uncorrected confounding variables. He also points out that quite a bit of it is editorial rather than conclusion. There is no declaration of conflict of interest, which he says would be an immediate red flag. So he looked up the people involved, and he said that one of the researchers, Vajira Dora Bawila, she's had 8 non-peer-reviewed papers so far. COVID has been the main focus of her academic career, and she doesn't really have any experience before that. So, or if any, he says. The big gun, the person who does have, I think, 150, he said, peer-reviewed articles out there, is this Eli S. Rosenberg. But according to Robert Malone, the fact that he trained at Emory is an issue because Emory is apparently basically a satellite of the CDC. he goes on to say that there's no summary table of enrolment characteristics, which is a reason to reject the paper immediately, because it means that you are unable to, let me just make sure that I say the right thing. You're unable to basically understand the difference between the people who are being studied. The other thing that he says is a problem is the fact that it's an aggregated study of databases, and when you're pulling together information from a variety of databases, that's something that, it has impurity the impurities that you have to consider. Obviously, I don't need to dwell on it for you to sort of be thinking about that. And he also says that the last conclusion statement is pure editorial or opinion. It's propaganda. It's not something that you would normally see in an academic paper. Given rapid loss of protection against infections, these results highlight the continued importance of layered protections, including mask wearing for children to prevent infection and transmission. So he says, through the review, he explains that there really is absolutely, no focus on masks at all. So that's just sort of pulled out of the ether and put there. As he said, it's opinion. It's not academic conclusion. And his then kind of takeaway from it is that despite the caveats that he's given you, so this, the study is sort of invalidated anyway, but if you were going to look at the study, he says that, Table 1 strongly suggests a profound lack of effectiveness of the Pfizer vaccine in children. So that's quite a long one. I want to go on and take you to the gloucestershireLive.co.uk. You can find the article there about a 24-year-old rugby star who has died of a heart attack. So very, very sadly, that young man joins the epically long list of athletes that we have lost in the last year and a half or so. I move on just because, what can you do? We have to do that. We've got the boss of Sky News UK, presumably. It's a video clip, so and I hunted down, his authenticity, but I have to clarify for you, actually, exactly how he is the boss of Sky News and at one time ITV. It is genuine, though. His name is Mark Sharman, and he in this video is explaining how angry and upset that he and other journalists are at the way that the mainstream media are behaving. He doesn't believe that it can be accidental. He and the other journalists who are writing sort of comparative pieces or pieces which draw attention to things which are not being highlighted by the mainstream media are just, they're not getting into the mainstream media. And he says that, that level of, rejection of alternative opinions is it's controlled. So he would know, presumably. That is me for now. I appreciate your time if you are with me, and if I'm just talking to myself, then that's okay too. All right, if you're out there, I love you. Bye.